Hello friends, welcome once again to High Point. Today in this video we'll see The Indian Queen. It's a drama by Dryden, and we are going to begin about Dryden's major works from this video onwards. We have done about Dryden's life and career and his major contribution as a literary figure in the Restoration Age. We have seen a brief video about him in the very previous session of English literature. So before beginning the video, like always, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to it, and also press the bell icon so that you get a notification when we upload something in here. And also visit us in www.highpoint.in. There you will find immense materials relevant for your NT, just in JRF, English language and literature. And also you can follow me on Instagram. Okay, if you want to know anything further related to the website contents, study materials, or any other offers, you can WhatsApp me or call me in this number, or use the Instagram ID to reach out to me. Okay, moving on about The Indian Queen by John Dryden. So it is written, this work, this is one of the first works by John Dryden. The Indian Queen is a play by Sir Robert Howard, written in collaboration with John Dryden, his sister's husband. So John Dryden's sister's husband is Sir Robert Howard. So they collaborated in writing this work, The Indian Queen. And it was first performed in 1664. The plot is set at the courts of Peru and Mexico right before the Spanish invasion. So that is the background and setting of this play. It is set in the court of Peru and Mexico right before the Spanish invasion. So that was a little information about the Indian Queen. This is not that important, but you have to learn as much as possible about the works, because many questions are asked from inside the text as well. The play's protagonist can be divided into the groups of two countries and other prospective royal families, because many actions are happening in Peru and also Mexico. That means the protagonist, the people, the characters inside the play can be divided into groups of two countries and their respective royal families. First one is the Peruvians, King Yanka and his daughter Orazia, and the Mexicans, who are divided in a family feud between and the now ruling queen Zambola, her general Traxala, and her son Acasis. So these are the Mexican royalties: Queen Zampola and her general Traxala and her son Acasis. Minor characters also included in here is Maron, a Mexican prophet and conjurer. So Ismaron is a Mexican prophet and conjurer, and the god of dreams, whom Ismaron manages to evoke on Zambola's request. So these are the minor characters. We will jump into the major plot of the play. The play begins at Yanka's court. So the play begins at the Yanka court. The old king honors his young general Montezuma, who has just defeated the Mexican, and court their Prince Acasis. So this is where the story begins. Montezuma was honored by Yanka, and because he fought well and he defeated the Mexicans, and he caught their Princess Acasis. Okay, generously Yanka grants Montezuma personal power over the defeated realm and other Acasis. So over Acasis. So what he does, Yanka gives most power over the realm, the region that Montezuma defeated, and over Acasis, his prisoner too. Montezuma proves his own generosity by setting Acasis free, and he defies the riches he is offered in a show of his own pride and love. So Montezuma, he displayed his own pride and love when this was offered to him by Yanka, and he showed his generosity by setting Acasis free, and he even defies the riches offered to him by Yanka. It is Yanka's daughter he wants. Why he actually defied? First, in order to show his pride, but he wanted something more precious than all these riches, that is Yanka's daughter. And all his worth, all these things worth nothing if he does not get her. So he actually was so obsessed with her, and he all these riches worth nothing if he doesn't get her. The play's central conflict is constructed around Yanka's reluctance to consent to his daughter's marrying Montesma. Even though Montesma is so great and Yanka showers riches over him, Yanka never approved. He was reluctant to consent to his daughter's marrying Montesma. Orazia's own feelings remain hidden. Okay, Orazia never says what is her feeling. She acts as the obedient daughter with readiness to follow her father into death on the Mexican altar. So Orazia's feeling never revealed, but she acts as an obedient daughter who even follows her father into death on the Mexican altar. Now, what happens next? The reversal of affairs happens. Mexico conquers Peru and captures Yanka and Orazia. So, for a time being, Mexico was defeated, and then again, reversal of affairs happened. Mexico conquers Peru and captures Yanka and Orazia. Takes place between scenes 1 and 2. Montesma announces at the end of the first scene that he will change sides and support Mexico against Peru. So initially Montesma was shown as a patriotic person who is so pridely patriotic to his own land, and he is so obedient and so devoted to Yanka and all. But he announces later that since Montesma, he got the idea that he is never gonna get Orazia, Yanka won't approve of it. So he announces that at the end of the first scene that he will change sides and support Mexico against Peru. The second scene opens at the Mexican court with the Montesma having just degraded Orazia and her father to Mexican state prisoners. So he now changed his support to Mexican court, and the very next scene itself we can see Montesma is in Mexican court and he was degraded Yanka and Orazia as just Mexican state prisoners. Montesma and Acasis have meanwhile became friends. Since Montesma freed Acasis earlier, these two people, they became friends. And Yanka and his daughter are for the rest of the play the captives of Zempolla, the Mexican usurper, which does not facilitate the situation. So Yanka and his daughter Orazia, they remained throughout the play, rest of the play, they remained captives of Zempolla. Zempolla is a Mexican usurper, and which she does not facilitate the situation. Montesma remains eager to marry Orazia. Still, Montesma possesses some likeness and obsessiveness towards marrying Orazia. The fair captive and her father are now, however, destined to die at Zempolla's command as human sacrifices on Mexico's altar. Zempolla has sworn their deaths. So Zempolla, she believed in human sacrifices, and Zempolla, even though Montesma wanted to marry Orazia, never escaped her from her horrible death awaits on Mexico altar. But Zempolla commanded a human sacrifice both these persons on Mexico's altar. Different interests begin to block each other. So what happens? After this sacrifice and all, different interests. Many people, the friends, they had many different kind of opposing interest for themselves, so that blocked each other. Zempolla wanted to see her captives die and falls in love with Montesma. So what happens? Zempolla, in the meantime, he wanted to do a human sacrifice, both this father and daughter, and she wanted these two captives to die. But in the meantime, she fell in love with Montesma as well. Montesma is still in love with Orazia, so they have different interests. See, her son Acasis has fallen in love with Orazia. So So Acacius also fell in love with Horacia himself and has to choose between his new friendship with Montesma and his love for his mother's captive. So he knew, Acacius already aware that Montesma is in love with Horacia, already so obsessive about her, always cherishes to marry her, and he need to choose between the new friendship that he found with Montesma or his own love for his mother's captive. General Traxala acts as the Machiavellian courtier in between. So, in a courtier, they are looking for a favorable situation, and here a courtier known as General Traxala acts as the Machiavellian character. Machiavellian character means who does everything and anything to have money, to have social hiking, to have all the power and all. So such a character is General Traxala, and he has brought Sempola onto the throne, a woman who is now about to fall in love with Montesma, the new successful Mexican general. So here Traxala sees that Traxala is the one who brought Sempola into the throne. So Sempola is a woman who is now falling in love with Montesma. Montesma is a new successful Mexican general. He will become that. And Traxala himself could try to win Horacia. So Traxala also tried to win Horacia, the royal captive, in a power struggle against Sempola. So Horacia is in a power struggle against Sempola. So he can make use of that, and if he can make Sempola a queen, then he can make Horacia too. And he reveals his desire for Horacia in monologues. The different conflicts culminate step by step. So all these interests, it will end up in different conflicts, and many people will get defeated and murdered and all. Step by step, it all culminated. Acacius has to fight a duel with duel over Horacia with Montesma. So for Horacia, Acacius and Montesma, they fought a duel. He has realized that neither of the two friends will be happy if he has to see Horacia marrying the other. So what they realized, that Montesma cannot see that Acacius marrying Horacia, or Horacia cannot see, Acacius cannot witness as Montesma is marrying Horacia. That's why they engage in a duel. Horacia ends the fight between her two lovers only when Acacius is already badly wounded and expecting his own death. So Horacia intervenes and ended fight between her two lovers, two desirers, that Acacius was already badly wounded and he was expecting death. The tragedy's final catastrophe is ripe after a dark scene in which Sempola has asked for an explanation for her dreams. So Sempola sees some dreams and she wanted to have some explanation of her dreams. Final catastrophe begins there. Dark signs forecast her failure and the reinstallation of the legitimate line of succession. So she is an usurper. So she saw a dream and she got an explanation like this. It's a forecast of her failure. It's a prophecy about her own failure that will happen in the near future, and the reinstallation of the legitimate line of the succession. Acacius stabs himself when he realizes that Montesma will win Horacia, and furthermore aggravated about his own future prospects as the son of his mother, an unlawful usurper. So he kills himself. He was about to die, but he stabs himself when he realizes that Montesma is going to win over Horacia, and furthermore aggravated, and his pain was aggravated about his own future prospect as a son of his mother, as she was an unlawful usurper. Traxala is killed by Montesma. Again, this Machiavellian general was killed by Montesma, whom he attacks in an attempt to give more power over Horacia. Okay. Then Sempola kills herself when the situation is finally resolved by Mexico's people. Amexia and Garuca turn up, supported by a revolt, and they can stop the execution of Yanka and his daughter. So Yanka and his daughter, they were about to execute, but Mexican people, Amexia and Garuca, these two people turned up, and revolt happened, and Zabola was killed herself because of this. The old Yanka is moved by all these events and offers Horatio to Montezuma. So he saw how Montezuma loving and cherishing Horatio. So he, with all his mind, he moved by all these events, and he offered Horatia's hand to Montezuma. Before Montezuma receives the information that he is actually the heir of the Mexican throne, the very person who can, with all justification, marry the Peruvian princess. So what happens? Before knowing that he's the true heir to Mexican throne, he married the Peruvian princess Horatia. So that's the way the play ends. Little bit happiness we can see towards the end of the play, but ultimately it's a tragedy where too many people die, and bloodshed happens. Finally everything restored into order. So this was a small video, and no need to give much importance to this play as well, but do remember some characters, and do remember the Indian Queen as a major play, as a play written by John Dryden, who's a major representative writer of, or most representative writer of the Restoration age. Okay, meet you in the next video session. If you have any questions, queries, do mention that in the comment section. If you have any add-on points too, you can mention that in the comment section. Visit my website, use this WhatsApp number or Instagram ID to reach out to me, and thanks for watching this video. Tata, bye bye.